The ability to remember is a priceless gift. A gift you can lose. Henry Molaison's story proves the importance of helmets. Henry was born in Connecticut in 1926 and at around 9 years of age got into an accident on his bicycle. He fell to the ground and cracked his skull and, as a result, began experiencing seizures. As time went on, his seizures became worse and worse. When Henry was a teenager, he became vulnerable to tonic-clonic, sometimes known as grand mal seizures. This caused episodes of violent convulsions. It was decided that in 1953, Henry would undergo brain surgery to stop the seizures. The operation produced good and bad results. The good results were that Henry's seizures were finally fixed. The bad, however, was that now he suffered from severe and moderate cases of amnesia. After the surgery, Henry had an entirely new level of hardship to deal with. He couldn't remember most events that occurred 1 to 2 years before the surgery, and also demonstrated difficulty recalling some things up to 11 years before the surgery. Aside from this, he could no longer commit new events to his explicit memory, which is responsible for conscious and intentional recollection, like remembering an appointment or a certain event. He could no longer intentionally remember things. That being said, his implicit memory was still intact, meaning he could still learn things. He just couldn't remember learning them. It was believed that Henry lived moment to moment. Some sources claim that his new memory would be wiped entirely clean every 30 to 60 seconds. He lived the rest of his life that way until he died in 2008. It may seem like a story ripped away from the movie 50 First Dates, but I assure you, this is the real version. Michelle Philpots' story began in 1985 when she was involved in a motorcycle accident which caused a head injury. 5 years later, misfortune again found her when she got into a car accident, again subjecting her brain to more trauma. As time went on, as a result, Michelle began to struggle with her memory. She was eventually released from her job when she was found spending the entire day photocopying the same document. Her memory continued to degrade, and now she has no short-term memory at all. Each day's events are wiped out as she sleeps, and when she wakes, she believes things are just how they were when the amnesia took hold of her. She believes the year is 1994. Since that time, she has surprisingly been able to formulate a relationship with a man and even got married to him. Every day, he has to show her their wedding album to prove that they're married. Michelle also uses hundreds of post-it notes to remind her of things, on top of regularly writing things down, like people she meets or things she has to do. Through these hardships, Michelle has maintained her sense of humor, however, claiming that she has never seen the same TV show twice, and she'll always laugh at a joke as if it's the first time she's ever heard it. Benjaman Kyle was once known more simply as the Burger King. This was because in 2004, Benjaman was found outside of a Burger King restaurant in Richmond Hill, Georgia. Completely naked with a rash covering his body, sunburn, and a head injury, he was only partially conscious and unresponsive to police. But this was only the beginning of a very strange story. It took weeks for him to fully wake up. Hospital staff asked for his name and he answered with Benjaman, based off of his memory. However, for his last name, he had completely forgotten it, but adopted the last name Kyle based on the name the hospital assumed for him. He had woken up with cataracts which remained for months until charity raised enough money for them to be removed. When he finally looked at himself in the mirror with clarity, he discovered that he was 20 years older than he believed he was. The following years were hard for Benjaman as he tried to live in a world without a memory. He spent time making next to no income. A nurse who was concerned for him helped to support him financially, while he made around $100 a month doing things like yard work. He pursued many ends to figure out his story. While bits and pieces came back to him, he still had no idea who he truly was before that night he was discovered. Searches by FBI, military, and other government agencies through fingerprints, DNA, missing persons networks, and more rendered nothing. Benjaman has been in numerous newspapers, on television news, and was even featured on Dr. Phil, and still has no answers. No one has come forward. He remembers nothing more. As of January of 2015, he was living in a small shack, courtesy of someone who saw his story on television and felt badly for him. He washes dishes for a living. As Benjaman's story goes on, there seems to be more questions than answers. He has recently given up trying to search for his true identity and has cut contact with those attempting to solve the mystery for him. That's all for now. Be sure to watch your head on the way out. See you next time. One thing you shouldn't forget to do is subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next episode of Seriously Strange. Also, if you enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up and comment below. Thanks for watching.